On Sunday, June 4th, I was flown out to playtest the new Warzone map, Vondel. I checked into the hotel, then signed a fancy non-disclosure agreement saying that I wouldn't put gameplay up on the internet until... that's not really important. Then I flew back home and had to sit on this footage for a week, but I'm tired of waiting. So let's get right into it. Now we're gonna start with the first new game mode that they're putting in before we get to the BR changes, and this one is called Lockdown. It's like Plunder with a purpose. Executions, looking pretty sick. Now let me explain what Lockdown is. There are 7 hard points or hills around the map, and they rotate each circle. What you need to do is get on those hills in order to get points for your team. The team with the highest score at the end wins. Now there is a really big wrinkle. I decided not to go for that one because it just looked a little bit too hot. I just perched up on top here and then I got sniped. The wrinkle is that each rotation, there is a hill that pops up after all of them go live that has a higher point total than the other one. I think I get 2 of 2v1 here, yeah. For those who are very observant, you might be noticing one other thing, that when I get into these gunfights, people aren't dying as fast as they usually do. And that's my first piece of good news. Base health has been increased up to 150. Right now, I think it's 100. So the time to kill felt very weird in the game that we were playing because the weapons hadn't been balanced for the new time to kill change. Neither had lethals. It specifically said this is going to be a great way to grind levels for your guns. So I'm excited about that. I got this deal. Let's go. I got Butters. Sorry, Butters. You see the zones move across the map. And don't worry, we're going to get into a BR and show you everything. I think I got wrecked here. Yeah. And this mode played super sweaty, but it did show me one little change that they made that they didn't really like tell us about in our briefing, and it's that you can shoot while you're parachuting now. That's a very big change. So the balloons that you've been hitting all around the map in Al Mazrah and I guess in Rebirth Island, Ashika Island, excuse me, now have a larger purpose. Like you can actually dive bomb on people like you could in the original Warzone 1. And I think they put it in specifically for this mode because you spawn in with your weapons. Speaking of weapons, I want to show you guys something. There are new ones. You can see up there at the top right, it's the Tempest Razorback. Now we're hopping into a game and you're gonna see that it's gonna be pretty good, I think. There's not a whole lot of recoil on it. This was just a build that I made in 30 seconds because we had to get into a game. So in this game, you're gonna see the Tempest Razorback and you're also going to see a lot of the new map. I'm gonna go over some of the POIs. These are bad shots, ignore those. And how each of them are special and different from the others. There's also a weather element that you're gonna see at the end of this game. Let's go over some of the big need to know for this new map. Number 1, it's gonna have 70 players, more than Ashika Island and less than Al Mazrah. You see a bunch of different POIs here. I've been told Police is the power spot. Mall has the most money. Mall is, where did it go? It's like, yeah, right down there. Townhouses aren't really marked, but they're kind of in the middle of the map, and I think that they have like an Assassin's Creed type beat to them. And another change is this is a Resurgence game mode. It will be just like the Ashika Island version, but Resurgence is now dynamic. So you can see that we wanted to drop over at Stadium. They have like a speedball course in the middle there, and that's because there are personalized loadout crates. So you can get your favorite loadout, and then everyone died. So I had to give up, and I couldn't hit a single shot with a single 50. I wanted to record this with the face cam, but they didn't let us. That was not a thing that was allowed. So this is me talking over what I did. I'm trying to remember it to the best of my ability. But both my teammates died. We didn't want to get wrecked first game, so I just decided to get away with my life. But back to the dynamic Resurgence. Say you're playing with a bunch of randos, and one person just leaves. They die once, and they're like, I hate this team. That's a bummer. In past iterations of the game, you would have to sit and wait for your Resurgence timer to go, and it wouldn't change depending on how many people were in your squad. Now it does. Say one of our people lagged out this game, the Resurgence timer would get shorter, meaning you can theoretically at least, solo squad, duo quad, do whatever. I think this is probably a way for them to have one playlist and not have the people who are playing solo or duo get completely screwed over, but I mean, it's still gonna be hard if you're playing 2v4, especially with the base health going up. But now I'm just making my way over our teammates so we can get this loadout and I can get this new gun. But I don't make it. I think I get triple teamed here. Going back to my original point about how hard it is. Yeah, I see one over the wall. I think I see another one. I thought I had lethals, but I don't. So I think I stun here. Try to take one of them down. I see there's 2, there's 3. I'm very dead. So I have like 10 seconds. And you earn points the same way you did previously, just moving around, looting crates, buying stuff, shooting, downing, blah, blah, blah. You can see Modern Warzone just went down. My teammate, by the way, is Modern Warzone and Smixy. But we kind of have it under control, so I'm debating where I want to go. That's Townhouses, more right there. One good thing about the buildings in this game mode, and I think this was a pretty intentional design choice by them. I never noticed that maze right there, is that all these buildings have so many egress and entry points. Like there's not one building that has only one way up, which is really good. If any of you remember Air Traffic Control Tower from Warzone 1, that was the worst because there was really only one way up and people would hear you and claymore it, and that was it. So the buildings in this game mode feel a lot more maneuverable. One thing you're also probably noticing is that there's a fair amount of water, and that is, yeah, that's true. We asked if they were exploring the idea of being able to shoot. These are some bad shots. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. We asked if there was an ability to shoot other guns other than pistols underneath water, and they were like, nah, not really. That change would probably reverberate and cause a lot more issues than I'm thinking of at present. I found a UAV here, which is actually really clutch. We saw someone dropping back in, but there's a bunch of people up on that UAV now. I think I get a Seiken and an M4, and I'm just gonna push this gunfight. It took a little while to learn the map. I mean, it flows like you generally would think, and I know there's one person down in there. Yeah, I saw him crouching, so I'm gonna go try to get this clean. Man, I really wish we could have had a face cam. But the water here is more shallow, like you can see, and it lends itself to seeing people better. I found myself on a surfboard. I believe that was my comm. LOL, I'm on a surfboard. And I guess if you're making an Amsterdam type Netherlands map, you're gonna have to have a lot of water because there's just a lot of it. And we're trying to search for one more person. I just saw him underneath the water in retrospect, and now I missed it, so that's on me. Back to some of the POIs here quick. Police, I think I said earlier, is a power spot. That's what we were told. Townhouse is Assassin's Creed. We went over Stadium. It has the personalized loadout crates, but Mall has the most money on the map. So there's different areas that you can drop at depending on your play styles. This was the very first game that we were playing, and I've gone to a couple of these like creator events, and what people try to do the very first game is they're like, I'm gonna get my content. I'm gonna go to all the different POIs, get some nice fancy B-roll floating on by. And what we did was like, nah, we're just gonna try to win this one. So we kind of stayed away from other teams until the very end. And then it got incredibly chaotic, and you're gonna see the new weather element come in. I just bought a loadout drop, threw it down, and we're about to get into our first gunfight, and you're about to see the new Razorback AR. For the weapons, they are adding 3 new ones. There is an SMG that I didn't really see. It's like the ISO from Modern Warfare 2019. I used it in the firing range. I wasn't able to record it, and it felt fine. Again, it was just a loadout that I made super quickly, but here is the Tempest Razorback. Had the single fire option, you can put on a 60 round mag. I was just using a Vel because I didn't know what else to use. I always want it to be good. I don't know. And now we're just gonna start patrolling. So I'm gonna use this time to tell you about a couple other changes that are gonna be coming to Warzone, Vondel, Ashika, all the places, while you can see my absolute beat. There will be no AIs on Stronghold. I saw a couple tweets saying AI is completely removed. That is not true. There will be no AI at Strongholds, and then there will be AI at black sites, which is like, okay. We're finally gonna see if AI have a strong negative performance on frames per second. We were playing this on PlayStation 5, so there was no frames per second counter. We also got like a default. I tried to use my PS4 fancy scuff controller that didn't work on the PS5, and so we had to like basically reprogram our controller. So if you see me doing weird things, that's why. Also, speaking of weird things, I am about to notice that I had my headset on backwards. I heard my teammates firing, except it was coming from my left ear, not the right ear. There is also going to be a new vehicle on this map. It's called the, what do I have it in my notes? The TAV. So it can go on land or water. It's basically a really cool tugboat. It's only going to be on this map, Vondel. Thought that was a person. It definitely wasn't. That is. I think I only told you about 2 of the weapons. The third is a melee weapon. It's got an interesting name that I forgot. It looks kind of like an axe, if I'm being honest. Now we're about to get into a gunfight where you're going to feel the 150 base health going up. Sorry, I just couldn't remember how that worked. I thought I was going down here, trying to throw out my smokes. I had to play on bumper jumper tactical flipped as well because my controller didn't have paddles, and I played at that almost all of Warzone 1, so it wasn't completely foreign, but it was something I definitely had to get used to, and this was the first game playing. Here comes the music. Yeah, this was something we forgot to turn off. I just realized that I haven't told you about the, how do I want to say it? Community challenges, that's the right word. Community challenges coming to Vondel during season 4. So you saw briefly there was a tram going around. This was a bad ego chow. I take full responsibility. I think Swag gunned me. Smixy clutches up here. So that's all on her, not me. So there's a couple different things. That tram's gonna go around. There's also gonna be, there's another public transport operation. I don't know, but right there, yeah, this is my controller being bad. And those are gonna be unlocked by doing champions quests. I think you pick up tokens and it's all community things. So as more people do it, more things unlock. So those personalized loadout crates will not be here right away at the beginning of the season. They have to, yeah, the Smixy really clutches up here. Basically, the community and everyone has to continue to do them. She was a 2-on-1. Oh, I think Doug comes in here clutch, actually. Yeah, it was Swag. And that was probably the biggest gunfight of this game. So as the season goes on, we're going to unlock more of these events. There's also a blueprint, I believe. But most of the guns, I believe, and most of the guns you can get in the battle pass, traditional battle pass. I still gotta get used to throwing drill charges, really do. Now, I think they did that community challenge thing for a couple reasons. Number one, they're just kind of fun, but realistically, it's number 2, and that keeps people playing longer, right? Like, that's just the thing that they want to do. The more people play, the more daily the active users they have, the better it is for the game, the more money they make. So while it's cool, yes, it's primarily a money-making mechanism. Also, just want to clear up some things. I'm not being told what I can and can't say. They flew me out there, we played the game, they said, don't say anything until a certain time. Oh, that's a huge thing. The reinforcement kit that I just picked up. It's down there in the bottom right-hand side of my screen. You're gonna see that come into play very soon. And what it does, you see there, it says no squad mate to revive. What happens is Smixy's gonna go down here at some point. It's coming up here soon. I see 2 or 3 people over here and I wanna push. I wanna clear this out. I wanna get it done. I only have 3 kills. Not really like putting on for the team. So I get 2 downs. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Sure, let's do it. We're playing trios. I'm ignoring the high alerts on my back. But Smixy's gonna come with me. And eventually she's gonna go down. I don't know how I live here, but yeah, the new AR seems pretty good. And what that little thing does is if you are outdoors, outside, you can shoot it up and it revives one of your teammates immediately. They're pretty rare. You can only get them in crates. You have to be outdoors to do it. It basically looks like a redeploy flare, like he bought someone back at the buy station. And that is probably the reason we won this game. I keep trying to ping it because I'm like, I don't really know what it does. They mentioned it briefly in a pregame briefing, but I didn't really know. So they're adding a bunch of cool new things that hopefully make the gameplay feel better. And I told you there'd be weather. You see this rolling in here? That is not just gas, that is fog. Sorry if that's triggering for anyone on the East Coast who had to deal with all the Canadian wildfire smoke. I certainly did. And fog's only gonna come in sparingly. It's not gonna be an every game occurrence. Maybe in DMZ, I can't really remember. I'm not a huge DMZ creator. In fact, I don't do any DMZ at all. But it seems fun. And so now we see that team at the edge of gas, and they're gonna be a problem for us rotating it. We tried nading them. I don't really have a great gas mask, and I think Smix is about to go down here, and I'm gonna use this flare gun. It was pretty neat. I just spammed the hell out of it, and she came right back in. Late game at these events always just get super sweaty because everyone wants to be the first to win, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now, they weren't. We won the very first game on Vondel. And I don't know what happened here. I was like, yeah, sure, surely they're right around here, right? I'm in the smoke. This isn't fog, that's just an actual smoke grenade. But Smixy just went down and I'm about to use the little gun here. Pooh! And she's back. I stole her gas mask immediately because, like, I'm a loot goblin, why not? Let me try to rotate into zone here. Iceman Isaac's about to pay me a little bit of visit to my left. I try beaming with the Razorback here. It doesn't exactly work. Not the tightest beams in the world. I thought there were people right up here that Doug pinged, except no, Isaac's lurking here to my left. Multiplayer will also be getting 3 more maps. I forgot to mention that, so I'm sorry to interrupt the tense end game here, but just felt like that should be put on record. And I will say that the changes that they have made, I played. I have no idea what is going to be in the final build. I can't imagine that they would have us play a game. A little bit of gas flinch there. Play a game, make videos on it, get everyone pumped, and then change it. But like, crazier things have happened, so yeah. It's now a 1v3 for the win. We're just hunting this person down. I think this is Lucky Shamu. And I want you to know that I don't shoot his body here on purpose. I just didn't know if he was dead. And there you have it. The very first victory in Vondel. Everyone was going nuts. Everyone was cheering. We were in this tiny little room with 30, 40 computers. I think some devs were playing at a different site against us. There's also going to be a bunch of new operators, battle pass, and all that good stuff, but we didn't really get to see this. Let me just show you one thing. It's the challenges that you get, the community challenges. It's called the Sultan Vondel. So the community challenges are, you get a taxi boat and tram for the first challenge that you unlock. Then you get the reinforcement flare, which you saw me use at the end of the game, a favorite supply box, and then the Tonfo, which is actually just like a nightstick the police use. Anyway, this all drops tomorrow. I think the health changes are going to be a net positive. I'm curious to see how they balance everything. Obviously, with more health, you need more ammo in ground loot guns. Hopefully we don't see any 30-round mags. Otherwise, that just really messes with the gameplay flow. Those are all things that they have to balance a little bit. So they said they were going to do it. Let's see if that happens. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow for the new map. Let's go. See ya.